오, 자자탄나 주고들이 주로 하마 다시 되래 그게 알버리 상가된 게
Tashidele to all the Dharma friends and the disciple joining on the live stream. Thank you all the Sangha.
주로는 뭐들 다시들에 들으는 들이다 양답 고쳐지도 왕 공주시아도 라자 요래 들이는 고쳐지지만 됐다 기상 룩박하기고 소냐 미남게 요래 룩하기 조금 말이지 하장 잡지 모르들이 본인은 들이다 님마까지 담마시 지마시거든요. 막게게는지 나니 괜히 배망보래 되게 이제 강해지네 주대서 저도 망보요는 양 그런데 제발 왔더니 그런데 야손은 뭐 관계 때문에 이거 값들이 때려 동네들 공부하면서 로축성나 로안나들이 때럽게는 이 주변에 저들이 잡다치고 저 추탐지에서 합친 뭐 있냐니 좀들이 같이 좀내 아니 바태서 체계거래 제사다는 살치발 말이야 좀 봐서 오니지 주도방에서 룩도서 이제서 사는지 삽지사 맞자친 보래 이 왕지 초대형들이 따단자 원합에 초대형들이 하자 왕 참치 유로 쳤는지 제가 비야 보셔로 왕대 좋아 참치를 드리시면 되셔요 버리래 그때는 진짜 손 못지가 됐다 가셨다 야지 가가니 제가 하고는 됐다 누구는 진짜가 자기 스스로 못 지는 데는 태빈이 주거든요 이제 손 못지에서 그래서 방법적인 거 던들으셔 던들은 못지 던들은 이제 다 라발라마 집안나 던들고 난게 요래 되게 잡지 다이스도 루틴은 태빈이 주고래 이 공간이 남의 합성도 무슨 좋아 그래서 몇 잡아 요래 대마음 봐라 진짜 기봐 왕 주소잖아 되게 공자가 되냐면 무슨 좋아요래 사람 넘버 타봐 대티리 요래 그래서 로직에만 와도 로직에 그래서 저들이 이게 좋지 내들이 뽑았던지 뽑아만시 다 듣는냐 매기는 고요래 내가 지는만 보요래 그래서 다 사이 삼체사 고요 말이 저는 로직에 받아 삼만세 로서 받은 이게 돈이 들래 다 다시 왜
하와이 라마이첸 가르래 하와이 라마이첸
너들은 뭐지 이제 손은 뭐지 그래서 이제 손은 뭐지 공 튀는 것만 너들봐 너들은 뭐지 너들은 진짜 라마 집안 너들 진짜 너네 때문에 버려도 무슨 라마 고마나 진짜 너들이와 그래서 다 공체는데 너들 차게 터요래 또들이 잡지 다 있어도 그 무슨 나이들이 삼지 못 잡아래
So Dharma friends, Tashidele, today, according to the request of the Seattle Center, I'm going to confirm the empowerment of the Gunchuk which is the embodiment of the precious ones according to the Yangtze tradition. And this is actually a practice that is nowadays mostly practiced in the Drukpa Kagyu lineage. But however, it's not only practiced in the Drupal Kagyu lineage, it is really widely spread throughout all the Tibetan lineages in Tibet. So, for example, most of the Nyingma and the Kagyu traditions, practitioners are familiar with this practice, and a lot of people in Tibet practice this also on a personal basis. So there's a lot of practitioners of the Gunjuk Jiddu. And so generally, there are many very profound Dharma cycles, but this particular one is also quite unique. And so first, the one who revealed this Dharma, the Dertun, was the Vidyadhara and Chatsung Nyingpo. And what makes it so unique is that after he had revealed the Dharma, he did not disseminate it right away, but first he practiced those teachings in the Dharma for 13 years. And after he had accomplished the Dharma, only then did he make it available widely. And that's why this Dharma has so many blessings, because generally, of course, all Dharma has a lot of blessings. But the more it is practiced, the greater are the powers of those blessings. And so, as we always say, there's no difference in the deities, but it is that it is more important that one knows how to practice than the practice itself. So the way in which something is practiced and how long it is practiced really makes a difference. And this particular Dharma that we will receive an empowerment from was the empowerment text was compiled by the several Jamguns, Rinpoches, and so they have basically condensed the essence of this Dharma into this particular empowerment text. And the essence, the most important parts, everything is really included. And so this text is really actually an incredible text. And so the Dertun was the Vidyadhara Chatsung Nyingpo. And actually his, I don't know much about his lineage, but his incarnation actually was recognized by His Eminence Dai Sido Rinpoche, and he lives now in Taiwan. He's also referred to as Jatsun Rinpoche, or also another name of his is Tudul Rinpoche. And Tudul actually is one of the names mentioned in the list of the lineage lamas, masters of this empowerment. So that's also very auspicious. So he is also like a contemporary lama, a really incredible lama with great learning. So also I would encourage you, if you can in the future, to receive more instructions, teachings on that from him actually, because he's really a perfect practitioner with perfect qualities, and he has a perfectly pure intention. And so now we will come to the actual history of the empowerment, and it's a little bit long, so we will not read it in Tibetan. And anyways, most Tibetans are actually familiar with this practice. Tibetans usually do this practice, so they probably know the history of this practice. But there are maybe a few Westerners who are not so familiar with it, and therefore we are going to read the history, the historical background of this empowerment just in English today. So then the history. So it's the empowerment of the embodiment of the precious ones, the Gunchuk Jiddu, called the clear intent of the Guru. Collect your thoughts, thinking, I shall attain the most precious state of a perfectly complete Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings, limitless as space. For this purpose, I shall receive the blessings and empowerment of the embodiment of the precious ones, Guru practice. Thus, listen with a one-pointed mind and firm devotion. Our teacher, the perfect Buddha, who is skillful in means and greatly compassionate, taught the holy Dharma, the gateway to liberation, in various ways according to the mental capacities of those to be tamed. Of these, disempowerment belongs to the unsurpassed Yoga Tantra of the supreme resultant secret mantrayana. In general, it is the sublime gateway of blessings. In particular, the profound practice of the Guru, the supreme lord of all mandalas, is the supreme lord of all mandalas and the primary embodiment of all the Buddhas. In the arising of Nectar Tantra, it says, it is better to meditate only on the Guru than to meditate on hundreds of thousands of forms of deities. Thus, the practice to accomplish the Guru is supreme and most important. While there is an inconceivable number of gateways to such practice, this particular empowerment originates from the embodiment of the omniscient wisdom, love, and power of all Buddhas, the Dharmakaya Samantabhadra, the primordial expression of enlightenment, who bestowed empowerment upon the Sambhogakayas, such as Amitabha in the Pure Land of Lotus Array, and upon the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate aeon, in this world of endurance, where beings are tamed through compassion. Having conferred empowerment, Samantabhadra gave a prophecy. This teaching will be revealed by the awakened Nudan Dorje. He will always appear like the second Buddha at the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings. He will benefit sentient beings throughout the 3 realms of existence through the 4 enlightened activities. Following the supplications of the Tibetan king and his karmically destined subjects, Lord Padmasambhava himself gave profound and extensive teachings on how to practice the sadhana of the Guru, which is like a wish-fulfilling jewel. Then the sadhana was hidden as a profound dharma to benefit beings of the degenerate age. The great Tertun Jatsu Ningbo revealed the Gunchok cycle from the iron gate of the Homtong in Congo. The sublime lineage of power-wielding Vidyadharas has continued in an unbroken line from the Dertun to the kind and holy root Guru. The great Vidyadhara, Dudul Nudan Dorje, revealed the Guru Sadhana, radiant lotus at Dodak, Benri Dema. The great river of its blessings continues to remain without decline. It is said in the Dharma root text, Emaho, the embodiment of the precious ones, is the very heart essence of the holy Dharma and the confluence of the enlightened mind of all the Buddhas of the 3 times. It is the great Ati, the undisputed peak of all vehicles. It is the Dharma which liberates sentient beings from the 6 samsaric states. In the advice given to Nyangben, Padmasambhava said, my compassionate blessings will be the great method to protect from suffering when the degenerate age of strife reaches its final depths. Since these are very powerful times, the entire surface of the earth will be filled with Dharma. My intent concerns the beings of this age. The innermost secret mind accomplishment of Gunchok Jidum will be discovered by an emanation of Nyangben Dinzing Sangbo for the benefit of certain people of the dark age. Merely disclosing these teachings has the power to fend off foreign invaders. Crops will be abundant and cattle will thrive in this world, and there will be fewer windstorms. Even the animals of the faithful, and all those above will go to the joyful pure land of great bliss. Furthermore, giving the empowerment and transmission of this profound Dharma, still endowed with fresh blessings to disciples in the dark age, will be far more meaningful than finding a wish-fulfilling jewel. One will become cleansed of all karmic obscurations. One will become free from the 8 kinds of fear, such as punishment of kings. All karmic disease will be made lighter and cured. One will become free from chronic illness, paralysis, or eye disease. One will become endowed with longevity and merit. Even though one's lifespan may be exhausted or weakened, one will be able to restore it. One's discriminating intellect will not fade away, and one will radiate with impartial wisdom. One will swiftly accomplish all wrathful activities. And in the bardo, one will recognize one's own true nature, and one will be reborn in Dewachen. Guru Padmasambhava also said, for this reason, unlike it is with other mind practices, practicing me is to practice all the Buddhas. Seeing me is to see all the Buddhas. I embody all the Buddhas. Accordingly, the Vajra Master's preliminary activities to confer the empowerment of the embodiment of the precious ones, which is the root of all Guru practices, are completed. Your activities as the disciples begin with the offering of a mandala. So the blessings of this Dharma are great, and the lineage is really precious. Regarding my own lineage, when I was very young, I didn't personally have the opportunity to engage in this practice. But actually, my father always engaged in this practice his entire life, and especially on every 10th day and every Guru Rinpoche day in a month, he would make offerings along with the practice. So from my personal lineage of this empowerment, I have received this empowerment only 3 times, and mainly from a Lama who lives in Kham, who is also a Dertun, called Dertun Gundu Lingpa. He's a great Dertun actually, and is really accepted by many great Lamas like His Holiness the Karmapa and others. So I have received the elaborate empowerment along with the long life empowerment from him. And so even though I do not have really, have not engaged in this practice too much in terms of, so I might not really have the activity or practice part sustained, but I have received the lineage. And so therefore, since you requested me to confer this empowerment, I thought that since it's not that like I have no connection, it would be okay to confer this empowerment. And so now, following your request, I will offer you this empowerment. But then the name of this Dharma is also very unique, because it is also referred to as the Yangsa Punchok Jidum, which is the which means the utterly profound embodiment of the precious ones. And it is distinguished from the Yangsa Dzogchen cycle that we have in the Jigong Kagyu lineage. So the Dzogchen teachings that exist in the Jigong Kagyu lineage are the Yangsa teachings. And the term Yangsa, it means like utterly profound, like the innermost profound. So it means that one has taken out the essence of a particular dharma again and again, has boiled it down to its most refined essence. So it is the utterly profound empowerment of the embodiment of the precious ones. And so the Drikung Kagyu Yangzab was revealed by the Derjen Rinchen Prinsok and then propagated by him. So And so here in this particular Dharma cycle, this name Yangzab occurs too, meaning here the utterly profound.
Bedasato samaya mane balaya Bedasato tenova Pichante me bava Sotekayo me bava Sobuchayo me bava Andarakto me bava Sawaside me baya Sawo Krama Satame Tetang Jayam Guru Oh, Bangla Sawata Tangata Beza Mami Meta Beza Ba Ma Samaya Zato Oma Sawata Tangata Bikikade Samaya Shaya Dumni Rinpoche No Long Toma Oma Oma Om Zawamekani Akakaya so I'm being in the muscle of the long of the boy of the young baby of the long got you so I in my Johnny down but it is over so I'm being in the muscle of the long by the young baby of the long got you so I Johnny down but it is over so I'm being in the muscle of the long by the young baby of the long got you so I Imagala kind of Johnny down, but in the home gonna be my double the Kalita did the book, you did the much the Savava Nakanaka. I thought I owe somebody about a whole down. But no, maybe you mean that you go, and then you get a lot of the you go, Dodges, I don't made it. Bedara Jara Jara Lo. Rita Wang Kang Rabel going Majashi Vajatili, Tata Dungi Tamsiga Dantin, Triti, Tini, what they did, Trimezar Sanang Salmejati, Rita. Just to my last and just 10 support the song or it on. This is the mental for sure. There is some mental tones of already. There are Tommy to try to give me right to the Tony in the support of it.
Whenever we receive an empowerment, we offer a mandala in the beginning, because offering a mandala is the antidote to suffering, and the root of all suffering is self-grasping. And there are three aspects to a mandala. There's an outer, inner, and a secret mandala. And these three aspects of the mandala are actually explained in the mandala offering that is taken from the Guru Yoga practice of Milarepa. So the mandala of the Milarepa Guru Yoga practice is therefore very profound because it shows the meaning, the profound meaning of all the different aspects of the mandala, so the outer, inner, and the secret. Therefore, when you read the mandala, please bring the meaning of the mandala to mind. So now we will offer a mandala, which is on page 7 in the Yellow Prayer Book. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body enjoyments and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping, completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and concepts of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Devanda Kini Ratna Mandala Pratitya Soha.
Rande nam de ne de la tamar mai ba da bu ji kan wo mi bi ma ji ja ye kan che bo lo bo sa ji kun de ji ba ma go pe ma wo ba u sa sa wa ma se be te donc chi ki chen bu so wa de ba de ji na wa so ji ta dang so Madaba Nawan di Sado Nani, the Talatini, Juanga Ditini, Yam Singay Ramji, Simkin, Nanamong, the Singay Ramji, Darling Mayana, Tamsi Jenny Top Parity, the lower Pachaga Kamangatin, Dwar looks so Nikaptama, the lower Pacha Charum Tava, Tisha, the Hatara, to ni rong gong sun che go tong te le ye ma ta ba ma ye ta pa ma le ko lo ba ma sa o che de be na cha lo te che de te ta le sa tu ma yang go ron bo chi mu se yin sa mo le o ta ko mu se go ron bo chi ma le te ye la ta ko go ron bo chi go sa le sa te da bo te ma le sem de chi ti mo shang go so ra yin ta che ge sem de chi mo de go ron bo chi sem ta Shukasa Lamasa, Sajes, Jiggy, Lower Pakam Nayan Zabadi, Military Lamsan Taylor, Gurbuchi Lamsa Sugatina, got the Tom Gurbuchi, the chair Yemi by Chadi Yore. The way Lamasa, Sajes, and think it is also Manji. The two Humata Jiggy, Lakan, go to Tikan, Nayan by your Mary. Lower, winter lower to Nayan Zabadi. Sen napa tabatila tabala de volustri ngayan zaba ase triti da me bala da zaba te da yunu da zaba mari ti taw shibe tamche ge la ka chena dani mak job ko de sama de ngore mak sem sama di de la ka ko na se de melong tawri sam da ha ta karche bore wan kare she nami kare she na te la triti sanso se me je se il pego sam de da ne je Digit the Shakari, Shak was it in Shak Chitam Simus and David de Kiore, Tiki Karchibo your head.
So next we come to the supplication for receiving the empowerment. And so the visualization is do not view your surroundings as an ordinary place, but see the surroundings as the splendid lotus-light palace in the pure land of Akanishta. View the Vajramaster as the Mahaguru radiant lotus, the glorious Lord who embodies all Buddhas. And with intense yearning and of undivided faith, and please repeat the following. And so, regarding seeing the surroundings as a pure place and not as an ordinary place, that is the true nature of the universe. So from an impure perspective, what appears to us are the ordinary 5 elements, but the true nature of these 5 elements is the 5 dakinis, the 5 mothers. And within the minds of sentient beings, from an ordinary perspective, are the 5 afflictive emotions, but their true nature, the nature of the 5 afflictions, are the 5 Buddhas. So fundamentally, on the basis, the universe and all beings are actually pure. They are only temporarily obscured by various karmic imprints. So that is just temporary. That is not their true nature. It is like a temporary ice block that needs to be melted. And that is the purpose of mantra recitation and practicing the deity and meditating. We practice in order to melt this ice block, to recognize that our true nature is actually pure. We are only temporarily obscured. So that is something that you have to bring to mind here and remember. And so now here when it says, view the Vajramaster's Guru Rinpoche as Padmasambhava, so maybe you think that he is not really Guru Rinpoche, but I'm just like imagining, I'm just pretending for now that he is Guru Rinpoche. But that's actually not how it is, because we all have the same nature. We all have Buddha nature. And essentially our nature is all connected to Padmasambhava, Guru Rinpoche's mind. It is said that the Guru's mind and the Buddha's mind, the Dharmakaya, are all one. So what is not real is actually our perception of an I. That doesn't really exist. That's what we not really are. So actually, whoever practices and brings to mind Guru Rinpoche, in that very moment, their mind is already indivisible from his mind. Also, Jigten Sumgön had said, I've realized that my own mind, the Guru's mind, and the Buddha's mind are one. So whichever deity you bring to mind, in that moment of bringing it to mind, there will be no concept of an I. This I is this temporary stain that needs to be removed. It is just like clouds vanishing in the sky. So what we do is that we are believing in a self that does not actually exist. It's not that we are believing in a self that exists. It doesn't actually exist. And so therefore this is where the pure perception comes from. So when you bring the deity to mind, also in another text it is said, I arise as the perfect form of the deity, naturally and uncontrived. That's my natural uncontrived nature is the deity. And so that is because your mind is like a mirror, and anything that you conceive of, you will become. So think in this way when you repeat the following supplication. It's very important to remember this pure perception. That's always important, no matter what empowerment you receive or whichever practice you engage in. So it begins all with first cultivating bodhicitta, a wish to benefit all sentient beings, because that, first of all, eliminates self-grasping. And then on the basis of that, you practice any deity. And when the deity arises within such a mind of bodhicitta, then it is the actual real deity arising. And that kind of visualization or kind of appearance of the deity is a stable appearance of the deity. So it's very important to see it from this perspective.
Emaho. Poncho Tendu. Lama me. Regnum Kunda. Chebe Cho. Bao Chimbo. Jesus Zong. Bao Chimbu. Jesus Zong. Wanga Mindor. Mudapto.
Emaho, Guru who embodies all the precious ones, great sublime Lord of all families, great one with courage, please care for me and bestow the attainments of ripening and liberation of this empowerment.
Keta yinna here tate shopa member sao lami yang sang sangabdi nekangde yasarot tami namarong teser nyingli tobo tesong di sangha ke tam tek tawasan jadi ketang di depa mi bana ni se chokuyo mari deshe kare de kotu hamago tiri 데려들 로따지는 들이 데려들이 양자와 동로요래 시합을 하고 또 그러면 상하도는 최성계들이 최성계 상고송 상지사의 출라 중요 마이의 로 총특파민 상속 대체의 고통성 동력로리 대체들이 상고송
In the empowerment text, it mentions that the empowerment or the meaning of the empowerment that you receive should not be shared with those who have not entered the secret mantra. So this is part of the samaya of not disclosing the mandala with those who are not initiated. And the reason for that is that those who have no faith in the secret mantra teachings will not understand the meaning. So that's the reason why we're not allowed to disclose it. It's because they wouldn't understand the meaning, so they would misunderstand the meaning, and as a result of that, cultivate wrong views. And wrong views is what will bring them to take birth in the hell realms. And so what this really means is that the teachings are hidden from those who have doubts about the secret mantra teachings because it harms them when they develop negative states of mind. It is said that the secret mantra is not secret because there is anything wrong with those teachings, but they are naturally hidden from those with, again, inferior mental capacities who cannot comprehend their meaning. And so misunderstanding the meaning will cause beings to take birth in the three lower realms.
Mandala chase home samaya ninde naraki tene jasu doa da semji ba ne kiran no je dinje lama da ken khor je to gro pe ma ba ye me ba la khor jiba lama ye dam khan do sa je sa se ba mo khan do ba wa khan do je so ba to da je ba u som de jo ba jasu ro jin na ko ta li be semji tam진 코와 동네에 저도 기본을 다시 사제적 고만한 거 벌써 대체도 양잡 람이 이렇게 거든 저장을 좀 싸워 냐별론데 기든도.
So next we come to refuge and bodhicitta, and it says, the Guru in your presence is inseparable from Guru, radiant lotus, the principal one of the mandala. Imagine that he is surrounded by the lineage gurus, the peaceful and wrathful yidams, the Buddhas and bodhisattvas, dakas and dakinis, and the host of Dharma protectors. In their presence, go for refuge and think, I shall liberate all sentient beings as limitless as space from the suffering ocean of samsara and establish them in the state of Buddhahood. For this purpose, I will enter the utterly profound, unsurpassed mandala and engage in practice. Reflecting thus, please repeat the following.
Om Ahom Jamne Tamba Namla Jab Sochi Ju Tong Ho Wari Champe Pama Nam Zumi Dongwe Sanje Topse Ser Kunjang Sang Chup Chodo Simji To Sentine Tonada Kari Semi Hingishipo Jeko Dichetri Rok Simji Tanki Pama Maziva Jekami Pati Jedi or Mana Patanabe Take many Pama Chayus me much Tokyo Mare. You call Toma Mary, many Pama Mazeri, Jekyo Mari, Dani Kayo Mari, Pama Jekyo Mibanatri, many Mazi Tata, that our daughter. Then champion to rota with Yalang, there's so many material to it. Get a moose amari, son, better to lost the making. The moose amateur is on the tree, got the same trouble. The moose check out to do some of them. I don't go back to Bolore. Kahon mustn't soak out the making from the moose amateur is. Oh, there's some of the watching Bolore. I don't catch a boy already.
Inchi Titi Chore, Inchi Titi Chigore, Inchi Tola Titi Chigore.
Come on, you permanent zone. Zoomy, don't wish it.
So the verse we repeat in English. On my home, I take refuge in the holy sources of refuge in order that my parents the 6 kinds of beings who wander in samsara, experiencing unbearable pain, may attain Buddhahood. I give rise to the Supreme Mind of Bodhichitta. And so Rinpoche said, so here we need to cultivate great compassion for all the sentient beings in the 6 realms, viewing them as our parents. And that's something that we always have mentioned, that all sentient beings have been our parents. So although we obviously know that, we rarely actually are able to really think that way. So actually it is the truth. Since beginningless time, there hasn't been a single one who has not been our parents. And therefore there is really no one who is, there's no division really between enemies and friends. So if you imagine your mother of this life, if your mother of this life takes birth, for example, as an animal, then you couldn't help but feel compassion for her if you would know that this is your mother. And any animal, for example, any being really has been your mother. So, for example, if you see a suffering being like an animal, for example, that is really when it has to come to mind, when you think, this is really has been my mother in a previous life. So this is how these words that we recite become actually meaningful. They become meaningful when an actual feeling arises. A feeling has to arise. And a feeling arises when you actually apply it at times when you do encounter different beings. For example, even if it is like an insect or it is another animal, or whoever you see, immediately you should think that this really has been my mother. This is my mother. And that thought, when this feeling arises, that is extremely powerful. This is really when these words become meaningful.
세와디 가시나 메가 냐세고나 코토비 휴지처럼 무조건 거지. 뜻바살다리 걔는 저거 나타나면 소와 통통 정말 통통 소담을 항상 차리. 뜻바 제tam 치나들이 처음이 봐. 오 속자들이랑 이렇게 그딱 가르치는 초학강 매바 나기지 가까이에서 사도 떡대는 속샤사와 힘게 붙이지. 다 뜻바치 이제서 자시 설명들이 드바상도 힘게 좀 따고래. 힘게치가 드바상도 따리 되게 사는 거 가려도 또 힘게 있어. 그 삼힘게 따고 송 돈이 더 힘게 들어요. 힘게치 돈이 냐는 있잖아. 또 라요래. 또 되래. Zomi domoti padre, niki na sungarete.
So in this application, we said that sentient beings, they experience unbearable pain. And so this unbearable also actually has to do with our compassion. Our compassion is unbearable. And so sometimes, now this is how we can actually measure the extent of our negativity in our minds. Sometimes people come and ask Rinpoche, do I have a lot of negative karma? Do I have a lot of negativity in my mind? What will happen? What will come of me in the future? But actually, this is something you can just see for yourself by looking at your own mind. You can see it easily, for example, when you see a suffering being or like a suffering animal and so on, and then a compassion arises, then that is a sign that your negativity is not very strong. There's not much negativity in your mind. For example, there are some people, they cannot bear the sight of, for example, seeing a fish being killed. They just can't bear it. And that is a sign that they do not have much negativity. It is just like something is touching your bare skin. So if let's say you're completely free of all pain, and then suddenly something pricks your bare skin, then a very intense feeling instantly arises. So it's just like that. It is like being pierced by something on your bare skin, like a very intense feeling arises. And so that's a sign that your negativities are not so strong. But then there's others who do not feel that kind of compassion, who have almost no special feeling. For example, when they see an animal that's suffering or an animal that is being killed and so on, then they have no special feeling at all. It is because they see that animal as separate from themselves. And now when this animal is being hurt, then for them it's almost like it's like a rock or a stone being cut. They don't even see that this is a sentient being. And so when there is just no feeling at all, the less feeling there is, then the more that is more of a sign that your negativities are stronger. So basically, the stronger your negativities, the less you will feel like the pain of others and so forth. So you can measure your level of negativity by your level of feeling that arises. And when great compassion arises, it's a sign that there's not much negativity in your mind. And this is also how we need to practice any deity. It's on the basis of such compassion. And compassion is also connected to the realization of emptiness. If one practices emptiness on the basis of compassion, it is said that one will realize emptiness much quicker. It's much easier to realize emptiness. So that's the meaning of this term unbearable here. We need to cultivate such unbearable compassion. Then next it says, think, I shall accumulate merit in the presence of these places of refuge by offering the special method of the 7 branches, and repeat the following. So next we offer the 7 branches, which is a method to accumulate merit. And so what merit actually is merit is love and compassion. If you have love and compassion, then you will accumulate merit. But a skillful method to accumulate merit also is the 7 branches. And there are outer, inner, and secret 7 branches. And these 7 branches here are the secret 7 branches. And these are actually very important also for your ongoing practice. If you will engage in the practice of Bodhichitta, then actually this is like the most important part of the practice. It's those 7 branches. The 7 branches of this practice is something that you should really, that's the one thing that you should really continuously practice on an ongoing basis. And you should ask each other questions about it and also reflect on the meaning. So these are the secret 7 branches.
Jamne Tamba Chunam Tamche Go Sam Ram Jun La Ni Mi Long Yang Chimbo Chauta Lo Ma Pi Top Dar Nyamba Ni Jen Chu Rasem Sanje Mato Tolo Cha Nilo Randet Mother Yango Zimi Chapter Rope Chukor Kor Horde Yemi Jokwa So Dep Chuyang Sundep Chimbon Horsa Song Jok and Chap Dechin Chok Tok Sho.
In English, Emaho, I prostrate in the vast expanse of non-duality to the three kaya, nature of all phenomena. I make offerings with unfabricated equanimity, free of all extremes. I openly confess not realizing my own mind to be the Buddha. I rejoice in the natural state of self-knowing awareness. Turn the Dharma wheel of all-pervading, unattached enjoyment. I supplicate you, please remain within the equal nature of samsara and nirvana. I dedicate to the great spontaneously present Dharma Dhatu. May we attain the perfect bliss of the all-pervasive union.
Gong King so Tabachin Donna, Saji Tondi, Tom to something to Council Manana, so singing the Dunche, some Java Chupa to Senti, don't ridiculously start to done with them. Naga Chicken, you're not the church hungry already.
So these are the ultimate secret 7 branches that are extremely meaningful. And the 7 branches are actually complete within just a single meditative state. When you rest within a non-dual view, the view of Mahamudra or Dzogchen. So within just a state of meditation, the 7 branches are perfectly complete. So this is called the undefiled or non-conceptual 7 branches. And those of you who are familiar with meditation practice, who practice on an ongoing basis, you see it that the benefits of meditation, of just even abiding in a meditative state within the natural state of the mind, even for just a moment, the benefits are really immense. The Buddha, for example, said in the Great Liberation Sutra, he said that it is of greater benefit to spend a single session in meditation than it is to save the lives of all the sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara. And so the benefits of meditation are great. And within a single meditative state, we naturally and simultaneously make offerings to all the Buddhas, and we purify the obscurations of sentient beings. So that is what is represented here by these 7 branches. It's the ultimate 7 branches, which are complete within a single meditative state. And so this is really the most important part of all Deity Yoga practice. It is when we visualize a deity. So the deity arises from emptiness and so forth. But so normally, when we approach a deity practice, then, for example, you think that, so today I'm going to practice the deity, this deity. But actually, if you just think that, then actually there's actually it's backed up by a self. There's self-grasping there. I am practicing the deity. The antidote to that is great compassion. So first, before you practice the deity, you bring to mind the suffering of all sentient beings. And then when a real feeling of compassion arises, first your mind becomes completely pure. That is empty of the stains of self-grasping. And in that moment of complete purity, you actually are the deity. You actually become the deity. Because on the level of Buddha nature, you are already connected to the deity. And then when compassion truly arises, that is when you really are the actual deity. You are indivisible from the deity. So in terms of the generation stage, that is really the most important instruction. It is to cultivate great compassion in the outset of the practice, no matter what deity you practice. If you practice it on the basis of compassion, then the actual deity with all its powers will actually arise.
Zoba Magro, Dajin Muzi, Topa Kada, Topa Teleke, Bema, Dama, Tom Dama, the Beteva, the dinner, Kiran Namjera, Sing, Puango, Rupani, Party, Margaret, Bema, but now, take the sour. Satavanya the Wong, so Sata don't they send in Hitchable Lam, Serenity, Committee, she did the shake, pick up was Bongo, and go to Soviet, she.
So so next is the descent of the wisdom beings. So all thoughts of taking self and others as real become empty. And from this state arises in an instant 1,000-petaled lotus with a sun and moon disk seat at its center. At its center is the essence of your own awareness. Resting there loosely and appearing as the Mahaguru radiant lotus. So what you should visualize here is, so first of all, in an instant, you should cultivate great compassion for sentient beings. And then this compassionate mind transforms into the seed syllable of Padmasambhava, which is a white Shri syllable.
This years ago, what they over the Namkapa Chatiba or the Kabu Chatiba, the Nijiram, you Chatiba, Gomni, they make some, they make Chede, Tatsimo, Taringopa, Lams or they say, Senator Temple, one to Shana. The rather same thing was the Methodla Hashem, they shall constantly make Chet, the good Copata. The young have to go to the Copa and make them semi shallow. The same details of what they tell them, one about the Salu Major, now sent it was the tale of Cultivating, Little Patonagi, Payo already.
If you have a picture image of Guru Rinpoche prepared, you can place it in front of you now. And then just close your eyes and visualize a white, luminous Shri syllable. I think that its luminosity pervades the entire universe, all the regions of space. And the pervading white light actually is compassion pervading. So close your eyes, and later when I ask you to open your eyes, then at once look at the image of Guru Rinpoche in front of you, and then have this image appear in your mind. And this is how you actually accomplish the deity, how the actual deity arises in your mind. And then keep repeating that. So you open your eyes, look at the image, close your eyes, have the image appear in your mind, and so forth. And then you realize how Guru Rinpoche, the deity, is actually your own mind appearing. And you see the real deity. What appears is the real deity. So this is the first empowerment of the generation stage, actually. And so here, what's more important is not the body. It doesn't matter if the body really changes, but the mind has to transform. The body is just like an empty house, so you can just let go of this empty house. And then think that the white light of the three syllable that pervades not the entire all of space, and then think that from space descend and forms of Guru Rinpoche. Some are as large as a mountain, and some as small as a mustard seed, and also mantra syllables such as Emaho and so forth, all falling down like rain falling down. And think that this shower of enlightened forms and syllables then permeate the entire world, the entire universe, and all sentient beings. Hold this visualization super pointedly.
there's in my way, but in his action, but took the part of my younger timbers of it and the timber get the drums or Tachi said it in Hag, Guru Kabara, the Lamsuta, they met to the Santa Melonta, Nijan, Chadi, they get a Niji Yoga, the Sade 773, young the son, they said it a meat of your age. Said the Melonta, she is on some kind of Zok Yop marriage.
So then open your eyes and look at once at the picture, the image of Guru Rinpoche in front of you. And then repeatedly close your eyes and have this image appear in your mind. And your mind is like a mirror. And now your mind has become a mind of great compassion. So it reflects Guru Rinpoche. When compassion arises, your mind is the actual deity. And then when you cultivate this again and again, your mind will mature into the actual deity. We say that the mind is like a mirror, or it's mirror-like wisdom, and the mind has no shape and no form.
Then one New Year show were cup said, Melo, Saja, Buddhism, Melo, you take my dear, I remember. Lokunam Dajin the J. was one year the Barker was Koraya Tambo Bambangla. They young cookie Laman and Pimajuni, Tripokoy, one Tripokoy, Dani, Korean Chepa, Chanam, the Joe, Jadako, Son, Laman, me some day, own Gago, there, Gago, Katachipa, Chang, the Tawatam, Lu Natong Pimajuni. Có thể yên mi de dục me ba se ba da za wa de song ji de nam de na ba 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 de ya sa ba ji ni kun sang nan ko cho ta som ko ju go ja ve ko yo su do ba men ji de ti ang ji de che ba chang nam ji zhe ma chu ji wang ko ro to be men jun zu ji.
And then next we come to the actual empowerment, starting with the Vase empowerment. And it says in the empowerment text, view the Vajramaster who confers the empowerment as the embodiment of the Nirmana Kaya Padmasambhava. The place of conferring the empowerment is your crown. The manner the empowerment is conferred is as follows. From a white at the point between the Guru's eyebrows emanates white light like a shooting star falling from the sky, which dissolves into your forehead. Imagine that your body becomes indivisible from the appearing yet empty body of Padmasambhava. This is the essence, which is represented by the material form of the vase. Externally, it is a vase possessing all characteristics of a vase. Internally, it is the Guru who embodies the three jewels and three roots. The entire mandala of the Guru and all of the Buddhas are complete within it. It is filled with the nectar that has the nature of primordial wisdom, which cleanses your defilements, and thus you receive empowerment.
Rinpoche Saharloyana Vile Hong Koya Minsam Karale was a Katachibata Kardin Perla Nimi Tan Pontom and Natongum Pimanjun Koya Wang Dojo Hong Bedaver Pimasata Hong Kaya Begin Hong Bedaver Pimasata Kaya begins home, Bimasado, Kaya begins home, Bimasado, Kaya begins home. My basketball, Matan, Namkani, there is almost Tang about it in Kadova, Kadova, the Path and 17 Johnson Yambagatini, from Bacha one go you see. The same one not the name, she might have the data, the Tangier, the one to tell you, the Chachibaba, and you won't worry.
So now don't just look at me with the base, but think that actually there are countless, limitless empowerment giving dakinis appearing in space, as many as there are sentient beings, and they each confer empowerment, holding bases in their hands, into the crowns of each and every sentient being. And we have said that the 5 outer elements are the 5 dakinis. And so in this way, since everything is pervaded by them, think that the entire universe, all beings receive this empowerment together. You have received the Vase empowerment, the obscurations of your body are purified. You will attain the 8th bhumi, called the immovable. As a result, you are endowed with the fortune to attain the nirmanakaya. In the context of the path, you are empowered to practice the Maha-yoga generation stage.
다들 이제 이왕끼리 가리 레다 누뭐 레와게 레크다다 레자모르 대초물을 보지 토르지 옛날에 난 sempre 누뭐 보고들는데 레사가 마음과는 도와 좀 참도요래 이왕도 봐 레로 보고 선도요래 다다 띠리 박차지 자송도 다들 이제 뉴지 샤랑 뭐지 많이 와 그걸 보고 그 채널 공한테 자송다고 차들어서 곰는 요래 막 곰는 매와 그 곰들 가지시는 때랑 대파다 동아 좋아하면 받으시면 그걸 보지 대야면은 그이라고 이렇게 파지 소하는 게 떨어지 만든 게 들이 차는 그 시롱을 라왕 그렇게 라왕 터지 대라왕 요래 야소도로 같은 라왕 요래 이제 차차들 뉴모버 범위도 이왕기 뒤에 박차시 바디 왕 손도를 기사하고 그래지 라왕은 이왕기 주라왕이 그러더라 무릎고 그 자소도데 사이고 제마트를 람스 거를 보셨지나 중거를 보실 거라 예매 맞차로 요래 때문에 다들 이제 땅아 되는 시송 땅을 위해 그 바탕 초마테라서 비 약간 코라만 그런 거를 데이터를 왜 시골에
So we have received the form empowerment, which is the empowerment of the generation stage. And also this term empowerment, we need to understand what it means. It means to attain some kind of freedom, independence. And so now, as long as we have this physical body, we do not have this freedom. So we are controlled. We have no self-control really. So what we are controlled by are our karmas and our afflictive emotions. It is because you have accumulated some positive karma. As a result of having accumulated positive karma, you have now found the precious human body. But then if your mind continues to be controlled by afflictive emotions, then in the future, you will continue to wander in the 6 realms of samsara. So this lack of control is what we call being controlled by the karmic winds. And this lack of control, these karmic winds control us because of our karmic imprints, the karmic tendencies. And so that is why we visualize the deity. When you visualize Guru Rinpoche, what appears is a rainbow-like form, and you are letting go of your material body, of flesh, blood, and bones. And this rainbow-like form of the deity is present whenever you visualize it, and when you don't visualize it, it's not present. So it's this immaterial form. But if you practice Guru Rinpoche, if you visualize him with faith, and real trust, then you will never forget about him. So he never leaves your mind. And if Guru Rinpoche never leaves your mind, then you will forget about your ordinary body. You will discard it just like old clothes. And in this way, by letting go of these ordinary imprints, what then becomes what overpowers the emotions, then the imprints, is the wisdom winds. So then wisdom winds are in control, and these are the winds of freedom. So when the rainbow-like form of the deity appears, then you are free. But if the physical body of flesh, blood, and bones appears, then you are not free. So when we are not free, we are controlled by ordinary perception and our afflictive emotions. So it's mainly those karmic imprints, the habitual tendencies that control us. This is what robs us of all self-control, of all freedom. So we need to understand the difference between freedom and a lack of freedom. When you visualize the form of Guru Rinpoche, and a rainbow-like form appears, then, for example, later when you die, instantly, if you're able to remember Guru Rinpoche instantly, then in that very moment, you will merge indivisibly with his form. Otherwise, when you die, you will think, I am dying, or I have died today. And then you will remember those who you have left behind, like your children or your husband and wife and so on. And as a result of that, you will continue to wander in samsara. So that's why it's very important to understand what it is that robs your freedom. So it is these karmic imprints, the karmic tendencies.
Guru Kuji Chalo Yonto Doba Wangto Tini, Train to Yomari, Zoki Deva Liba, Trim Sata, Mi Pache, Guru Boche, Tebacha, Kang Testas, Guru Boche Labri, Tis what it. Lantern Guru Boche Yonti Chin, then a march with Pata, then Guru Boyata, Dagata, Dog Guru Bojikosong to Yonti, Katak Chin, march with Pata, Semi. Guru Boche, the Jaya Memani, you say, could you tell also the bucket to Mari? Tell it to me, particularly say, Yostra, Jing around with the could you tell, and you say you will repeat it of the several Tiachigo Gori, Tiatim, the three country, Dandi, Joda, Lore, Pellicu, Martin, Pelli, Natural, the Hangisona. Ben Mora Dawson, oh, no, Mora Dawson, some 3 legs down over it. Oh, Langsam, Gurabuchi, got 3 legs, but I told you, Tarawang top over it, Gurabu, song, the Zoa Theatre. Ben Marani, Mora Dawson, Jetty Loma, Jenny, Mora Dawson, Jesus, take them. Munga chung my own. Got the singing in a train to one. Tell it in Gurumbochi. Wangje. Tell me, the Tango Robochuka, with each child young religion of some Tango, Kapo, Taquastero, Tingo, Lam, March with Pata, Tingo also. Sexy Chimbo, Tati Gini, Kamanishim, so down. This is all Tata, Gorobochi, Gorobochi 17, me, Chicken, some Gorobochi, Calvita, Gorodo, 3 Misoja. Curriculum Tamchiri, Water Mingorum Bocheri, Motor Digital Jari, and Doctrine already.
So the instruction is do not forget Guru Rinpoche. And what that means is that it's not actually necessary to visualize all the details, because it will be difficult for us to always visualize the entire form of his body color and all the ornaments and all the implements and so forth. That's not what's most important. We bring the form to mind so that we can connect to the deity. But it's enough to just think of the deity. For example, most people have a lot of faith in Guru Rinpoche, and in Tibet, for example. And so when when they just run into a dangerous situation, then immediately they call Guru Rinpoche. And so that's most important. They think of Guru Rinpoche. It's not so important that in that moment they think about the implements and the ropes and all of that. But what's important is to think of him and to know his qualities, to know his kindness, to think of him just like, for example, a mother thinks of her child. And so in this way, you accomplish Guru Rinpoche by always remembering his qualities of body, speech, and mind, and remembering his kindness. And so eventually, he will never leave your mind. He will always be in your mind. So the outer appearance is not what's most important when it comes to remembering the deity. And so if you habituate to it, then also later in the bardo, you will naturally accomplish the deity. The moment you think of the deity or Guru Rinpoche, he will already appear that very instant. And even if you have not visualized each and every part of the form, in your lifetime, then at that time, the entire form with all the details will still appear. And so what's most important is the love you have for the deity. Because the moment you love, you let go of self-grasping. So, for example, if you are thinking of yourself and you run into a dangerous situation. For example, you have a car accident. So, if you have a car accident and you're thinking of yourself, then you will think, "Oh no, I'm in an accident." And then, when you think that way, you will just follow your karma. But instead, if you think of Guru Rinpoche in that moment, then that thought actually destroys all these karmas, the karmic imprints in the mind, and the mind attains freedom. This is actually what Guru Rinpoche himself had said. Or, for example, I myself, once I did have a car accident, and I immediately remembered Tara. I just remembered Tara. And I totally forgot, in fact, that I was in a car accident. And then later, it turned out that none of the 5 passengers were injured at all, even though the car was totaled. So that is the power of remembering the deity. This is how we need to remember the deity. And this is how you remember the form of Guru Rinpoche. And eventually, when the mind really has matured, then naturally Guru Rinpoche will appear in all his, with all his implements and ornaments and so forth. But for now, it's difficult for us to visualize all the details of his appearance. We're not able to do that. And what's most important anyways is to think of him with great love, like a mother thinks of her child. And so now we will take a break for 20 minutes. And during the break, keep reflecting on that and keep remembering that you are Guru Rinpoche, or in fact, just have Guru Rinpoche with you without even thinking of I am not, and so forth. Just hold Guru Rinpoche, and with your speech, recite the Vajraguru mantra. And just take a rest, reflecting in this way, and also later in your day-to-day activities, practice in this way, and also sustain a pure perception of seeing all the males as Guru Rinpoche and all the females as Yeshe Tsogyal.
Thank you. Siva. Siva.
Lama Abu will now do the lung for the Cultivating sadhana.
You get over the Senjala, Lev Yen, Jung, or a Senjala, good over the Loma, Bezangara, Bemasida. Gandagan, Gaya, Abeka, Omaga, Abeka, Abeka, Home, so Abekinza, Cosan, or the young Major. Give Manuela, the Yanajara, Yamada, the Yanajara, and the Kanakan the Tabin Dodons and then I must have done the tuberculosis on the so the Ramadura, the Ramatu, the Gadara, and Jarawa, the Jara, Sanghan, the Barava, origin, and all of us on the Tambondo, Juming, Alvada, but since you meet the Zoyan, Jaram, Japarava, the Jazo, and the one that jump in the younger girl. Give Jones a gardening and a parda gada, Raja, Barava, Hayonji. Huname, but a so and the other so the person of Jen, then come Tartok, the Chanbag, and then Jalu. Dagi, Jenkarajed, and the Miko, Ko, and Zinja, Suning, and the Lani. Here, Tony, Togang, some man, Charema, Java. Rendo Machewa, Rendonang in Song the Mado, Kumbo Tang. Book the Rinzin Jasun, Java, Jenny Sun Yang, Roden Jago, Le Dambo, Tamang, Dru Lali, Jacqueline Yundu, Damba Gajavan, Telejon, Telerayon, the Mana, the Saint. Veneza Jangora Zonjo, Jingor Sonju, Bezarana, Pado, Jender, or more young than Jango to the Jigay, or done some Jews, Sunkara Jando, Sanja, Ladan, Bajo, Sena, the Sarigan, Jiren, Jindin, Jodo, have the Sonju, Jinam, so, Dambo, Dave, and some June. Dani, you mean a Dorje, Gasananda, Julia, Janda, Lazo, Junction. The Dorje Sayara, Gormera, On Benzara, Chanzola, Jason Roa, Swajan, Uma, Janet, Ban, Jaron, Jamba, Bona, Vidumazan. Get the Kunjan Sancho, the Senji Toyina Dumbano, Oma, Winchina Tamje, Kusum, Rangela, Nimila, Jimasala, Majuna, Danyaba, Nija, Jor, Ansan Sanjab, Maton Tologa, Nelo Rade, Juga, Nelo Rade, and the Yarango. Simi Chabdaro, the Jangon Conde, Jeremy, Yovarazova, the Jelen, the Jango, Hovarazaz, Yakunjaji, the Chincho, the Gon, Vasela, Rayaka, Oma, Rangan, as a younger, Sanjans, and the Tell us, Mass for Jaran, Chilling, Number, but then you Nichung sector, Jandra, Duraza, Marathon, Joe, Pong them said them. Lamenjo, Payasam, Chap. Ya Dun Dang, Dadarna, Sini, the Jena, Goyan, Bongan, Angada. Ninja Panasan, Tala, Devosan, Badanya, Dharma, Sarva, Dharma, Darda, La Jivana, Radani, Tamara, Zazabeda, Conjo, Jenda, Pemaga, Kazanzan, Dangan, Zinzum, Jinja, the Tuba, Seven, Jinja, Pego, Dan Kardan, Puka Chega, Sawa, Prasajan, Sivera, Janguja, Janga, Jereva, Danigo, Uja, like Vinamaja. Took years at a Kulan Kan, Ron, Jazapin, my trigger, Kayaka Basai. Better by Gayana Chazan, Uncle Liche, Kadwana, the Chikunja, Bakrozo, Kunjan Jereva, Janga, Sanda, Laguna Party. Jizamaya, Nandon Juma, Sanda Savaraja, Darada Sarvajo, Omdibaha, Togo, Ondalazan. Tibesando Bargero, Bemajan, Urjinga, Gorbeman Jumela, Corjava, Ramjaja, Gova, the Congo, Kazavada, Bada, Meba, Jenda, Shankunja, Gavamala, Orja, Jana, Manigan, Cordan, Kanda, Chezada, Zena, Zendra, Zendra, Janano, oh, Bezangor, turn them to some. Silipolo Hova, Sansarvana, Namo Jangajaman, Tela, Zatajan, Donada, Yanga, Jaba, Mobarkala, Sansa, Chuba, Bavano, Oma, Jews, Hanong, the Jagan, Lawyer. Lawyer Lam Jada, Tinsian, Jada, Constituent, Java, Genture, the Olymp. Kikim dog, Ganavan, Genova, Tamina, Chu, Dajagra, Boro, Jaya, Jala, Borum, Hibro, Montola, Basaga, Juba, Nuya, Tuyam, Javan, the Yoma, Basan, Juba, Nimoma, Bona, Java, Dana, Java, Donja, Java, Donja, Radam, Baling or Machuba, Bottom, there is a Juba, Bona, Juba, Bomo, Benza, Aga, whatever the one. Shabdabade, the Zoa, Maha, Penza, Rakdam, Balenda, Kaya, Tuban, Java, Tanja, you know. Can you do not Jalo, nothing of the Doja, La Santa, Dodi, you know, Loja, Doya, Jungle, Pema, and Jukondo, Kangani, Marana, Jungsen, Kamar Jungsen, La Santa, the Yemen, Doja, the Wadazon, Joya, said I. Sanjay Carton, Yen, Zora, Tonton, the Lasa, the Juga Marbo, Sadia, Kevin, good and Tanaja, Dina, Sinta, Sana Yundi, Zola, Zaza, Christian Kanyan, and then Sojaga, the Sojagan, Java, Jandala, Jajo, Manga, Kazan, Rebelon, Don Jola, Santa, the Guinea Mapam, the Sayang, and then the Gagura, Yan, Jogan, Jimmy Doja, Gala, the Jordan, Tuza, Mama, Drama, and Sister, Taki Yen Mitsala, Taki Yen Michola, Chiga, Nimi Robot, Santa, two, Deba. Gurvana Deva Namjala Sudana, Ranga, the Sayan, Drasam, the Uzaran, Josam Sawasun. Botanjan, Gurabima, Kosong to just Zeraja, Nabakapa, Badazana, Sasa, Sinjala Borcho, Emaho, Bezan, Gurbima, Zasedavanoshi, Young Dan, and Jeda, Nadanaranga, Dogarbema, Carbon Majeva, Deva, the Jankaja, and the Sajadoja, sing about the Hong Yakarabon Simba. Tara, Dorjin Tara, Gorodan Handro, Dan Deba, Yegordon Gola, Karam Jaja, Jortanja, Lanchuba, Nameba, Koson, Santanja, and Parada, Lasin Tequatan, Wang the Jaguan Valley, Hamjatun, the Heroes and Danja, there were some other Tonton, Julana, Igeda, Rojimbo. Oh, Bezangre Mother, and in Bachendra, but Sao, that Yelada said, Baratona, and up there, chosen Hunter Sone. Dandon Gajagar, in Seba Meja, Bema, one was our judge, the Sanja, Gwenjan, and Malin, the Bonajo, or Jim, Martin, Seba, Dagalunga, is a Jalan Chimsay, Da son de blin son sa dan de ja to gar be ma gar bon de je be sendra phalam dor je nga be de ban la ka khap je be za so ka bo ja sa kar bo na da a san sim ba de da ngam de o nga dang de ba ye gar dang ni nga san sin nga ya de nga se ba la za do de san de jo dan ja ma sa nga sa ra ji Jie san jie san san zha ba sun dan ju jiang zhe tang jie jie se ye san la dan yong jue jie Dharma tam jie dan dan zhe le jie ce la wo tang jie jie tou jie san la do na san jie su nam jie ga bo ge wa le zhe jie wang jie wa zhang za zhe zha wang ko ma ba yong de jie wa du dan xin da de ba de zan che le jie nam jie ce la su na dam jie ye ge na ba zhe ka do na zo jie le le dan du ben ba la tang ba re Uma Om Bezangura Bemase de Ayer Ken 아이케 홍나자 시치니 강저다 다 몰란다바네 네레 예자자가다 진행자다잖아 여러분들도 그래도라도 세바제면도 탐지상께 다절제 천공나 다다야라 홍선아바나나 들다다다나 베마자바면 나라사쟁아 인정아 저랑아 바야 나가가원데 샤샤도 저자라네 저저코 도서견제라네 저저샤가 노솔도나네 자로고 산도제나네 저거 등소상바라네 등소 상바 잡진라네 고소고 저가라네 고세 소파체 투바야와코 개바 저라냐 바람 저저러 저가라 세가 한난저러 쩌종나 라라서다 바라제메세 원토견다 중대다원든 동대서도미 사라샤바메자강 미장강 장나 냐라냐라 니다사 자가란 소소라 미베틴 사와 도지송 동인노 오마아와나마장가르마다나제데도 손조나 라다니라야동에 에게 라미야 가서든 그제나도 바데 제다전나 두자죠 오마아원 사양쟁보도선도 도용사메 나제가나 gangegaza yungana lamaya dangado jang dan je da 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 so la je de gen kara pe ma je yene la ko da ba wang ka da ga wa da to dam sa na la je je ya sa la la le ka da chu de chong nam kha parana sa ye ka ne kang da la sen je la do ran da la je ja ba de lo jo na ra ga na je po mo da za so nan chu je da ra do dun 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 Ujim dan dan ji uma wong som ju bong bar wa de ju jim jo na la bo nyam chang ga da da ze ga je de yi zhen chen na da da de ya da wo ka ran ga ya uma wong ge de wa da gan ngan ge de da ga na da da ka ye gang wa yin da na la la so ba so ra zong hi xie jia gua son da 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 za wo 산제 그냥 원에 라메 공조 되는다가 사진 되전 되는 거를 잡으러 돈다 아틀라미 가야자라와 간도 생겨는 돈나가 산제 그냥 되면서 내가 지금만 원자라나 빠져 찡하라다 소년보다는 진전조 이제도 나가 도바볼랑가 자라바 자신한테 자도나 방감달라 다자대바야 저를 하라야 도나가 상하지데 근제냐 가자 담지 도지르바 도단강 오르진 때문에 가야 녀르도 그 내려다 도서는 저도 그러긴 도바지바 돈제베 젬다 예소는 자도단강 온예야 도단광 인양 도단과가 다른 subject 도난제가 들어자다 빼마 마서제베라다 체바라면도 도마단 조제 요소는 저제는 제나 도단광 이보가 저제 전화 도난여가 간절하나 나가 야른다 녀바 소르저자 가자만당거라 홍강대메데 지명하다가 주다메데 니메로단 저저다메데 저제버더 도나메데 해서더 이제로 집에도나 소자네 오 공조제도 가서 빼먹어봐 서서 저가 다다메도 지금 맞아 도모제 도전지나잖아 달로 노생인데 득조 노방 그저 하나 찡거냐 마사른 잡데 마다 서자제 상와로 단절데 산저다게 아마다 자다 담냐 도르게게 겐저다 생아 왕나다 다랭아 유상가다 르자 인나 담냐 도르게게 닌득 딩진 당에게 냐샤도도 띵주차 예로 손조 소자제 풍냐 불하냐 가다도 토다마 저 제왕가 고선 밤이 당가 当岁年大从这大规矩个罗罗做人家，军这个把那就把家做大家这一直当呀，大概家天国就是一般没办大多，没办可能的，因为没办，这都没办，这就咱这玩意那是强娘马走马去把下子。你没找我们别的啥都什么呀？嘛那不来呀？别的啥都这么不得了。这个呀，没把这家没往那儿都没有啥，这没来，这啥玩意儿嘛？这嘛，一人个红啊，我们个啥都那个咱们这没那么多嘛，什么啥都完的，吃刚当不，你送军单车什么用着的就才个大家个。先个把他们没把那啥个来把对吧的这把的就三个大男工生。yang ba chen long do ka kan gan de chin chu ni je yin so ju ba je je ne na ba da no ma da ma je do so la ra ya na ya da ga da ja da ja ya da na da so la ra de de ya da ya la da do ma ma so la ya ge ge so la ra la la se la la na gan so la ra na sa so la ra de ko na ni je so de wa chen bo la ra ga na za da bu za ka ye le da no ho so jian ju ba je de xie 写的你把不阿拉拉我写那个时候的我错了也那么我想车的人我们我啦往我这边走真的是这边还有了看到这边走了一个我觉得这一个的定着他们家是当然是嘛就是当这个把这都把咱这了他们这边走是让把领导干呀就让那我们这把这当 Paradan, Tamakarpa, Huma, Tude, Lamana, Kazanama, Majo, Jusun, Terada, says the Canada, Jordan, Yolanda, Banzo, Punga, Janada, Bada, Osanja, Mabon, Tinjon, Jabaro, Gadra, Babajama, Timajamana, Dumo, Yada, Jimmy, Cordana, Senida, the Kayato, Church, Bokam. 个别去了个瓦当，现在电把子就瓦当，通都真人民的这个，因呢Emaho大雁南面从穷的大给，你这个娘家嘛那个咱现在你拉的人着的，现在你拉人人。瞧这边是那王家的，人能得的，可上头家我这做干呀。 那我个子的红花呢，这边国内建筑的大光观众过来过去觉得，听着就呢跟大的呀，爬龙着哇，你说的给这他们做个三角，你说到说。 这些呢，蛮好，现在懂了嘛？那么他们这一个，干了什么这样子？那当然做的也不懂这，邦嘎啦，咱家见到的有做人，怎么能就那些当这个觉得，也看到的这样也没有的个，看到是的这多的这多这样人。 天家俺去我这单，妹妹家人老把人家的也马上这样，对面跟咱家我这叫什么家红城家公那边嘛样这人家是你。 经常我们这个人嘛，这种总能谈这啥东，他一个这谈这就让大家真的就那的，我从这妹妹瞧到了这全部一个解决了，就算这陈大讲我的啥哦 ，OK。 Finish.
Thank you, Abula. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
往日 Om Ahom 你把不嘛，上不嘛，你把上网这个忘记的，你参加直播过，俺们这一些，这早把直播过，这早把直播，俺们一些，他这咱们这吧，这一家打咱们当这个，所以这他偷这个，这什么这肉的，这里这他一把上网啊，这，那你 各个国人那么边完中内容就做不关系吧嘞，各位年龄其他的民族吧，这个村呢，guru家家那个阿妈婆的，我这嘛婆，妈咪这么到了，从其他的民族吧，我给，这边我找东，我这边送，一米的这边，没被，没把谁吧，我没把谁吧，早上从这些在看看个，从这些在从这些在那把特别多的，这样那么就或者做别嘛就呢。这看看个，让你去看着嘛，而且呗，那么就会。这位知道我这叫我身上就把肩上，下的时候如果也到领那水就，就是超过没学干嘛上身，这是让你的看上来把，特别的这逻辑吧，我们行个生意了吧，对决定的认为，我个特别，怎么就这。
And so now, first we have received the form empowerment. Next, we will receive the secondly the secret empowerment. There are 4 main empowerments usually, and the 4 empowerments are also connected to the 4 yogas of Mahamudra, or also the 4 appearances of Dzogchen. And generally, all the stages of the path of practice are divided into a basis, a path, and a result. And these actually also correspond with those 4 levels of empowerment. And so now is the secret empowerment, which is the second empowerment. And it says in the text, see the Vajra master who confers the empowerment as the embodiment of the Sambhogakaya Padmasambhava. The place of conferring the empowerment is your throat. The manner the empowerment is conferred is as follows. From a red R on the Guru's tongue emanates red light, twinkling like the tip of a butter lamp flame, which dissolves into your throat. Imagine that your speech becomes indivisible from the heard yet empty speech of Padmasambhava. This is the essence represented by the material form of the Amrita in the skull cup. The Amrita transforms into the Mandala Lord Guru Padmasambhava's Khatvanga staff, representing his consort, the wisdom Dakini. The sounds of bliss and light emerging from their union invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who enter the consort's mouth, and passing through the channels and places, they melt into nectar through the fire of passion. As the nectar descends, it leaves through the concert's secret space womb and merges into one with the nectar contained in the kapala and becomes consecrated by the syllables Emaho. When your tongue experiences its taste, think that you receive empowerment.
我说这个设计个看呢，上学前的，他知道后来个上午的人说，那个看大嘛，他知道日大就吧，就不了说的看大嘛的上学前的，这了，他们不上学前我后来上完的，这了，插挂上去吧，你这样整的这里，后来插到了嘞，这嘛都送的，都不整的这里，你莫把一样的，那么可多起来，这里我上千万人这里，那个这里就解释个了，这好少讲了嘞，这个谁给拉的？他这个我这不去上升就讲嘞，这个东西上升个东西，那多少用的，那去他的，我的千万嘛这个多你个东西，多你的，你里面吧，那你里面吧，要不你看看用嘛嘞。别的那我是多么强小了，这电话全部有的，这里我是起码的东西就别的什么，我起码这那多从这里错别人吧有的，可是个啥些人家有的别对他们错就不能谁不错啊？这谁绿个谁来这种，这里这我起码嘛那多不得了小成，这里多你电话全部是 Now, what on the top one, some of Jeremy Bonilla, Satom, just only watching money. Here is like South Chipati, Tita come there what you want to Salon Yamijana, take on it. Daddy Bimera, the Tony, the Mataki. 대화침문을 들이 저와 똥동 들이 이메와 차를 서똥을 대동이 시송 세지 락지밖에 돈이시 니지메와 들이 시송 들이 대상왕송 들이 다 고자야 들이 고자야 연구 상생감한테 랑 상생은 비우나 들이랑 상생들 척같은 힘만 매라가 들이 니지메와 다른 것들이 돈이 파도 두고 이제 돈이 또 내가 성성 거리 첩법 걸로 돈이 예소를 형조가 걸로 예소를 인소가 걸로 이 예소를 내고요 이제 값들이 디들이 다 형조가 걸로 내도 뭐 되니 뒤뒤가도 세계대로 이메가 하고는 우리 따라는 저도 니디 샤르들이 이제 착받았지만 나 필수 있어서 서족하는 남세들이 보자 비전을 처박히 맞춤부 제로도나 제 무엇은 재미를 잡아도 되리 생각들이 제리들이 상황성 무엇은 심하게 나와 같이 도만이라 저는 대동문제 내와 요바 동마 동마디
So in we just read this visualization. So it spoke about the blessing, becoming blessed or consecrated by the Bodhichitta drop. And so this Bodhichitta drop, it refers to the refined subtle essence that is present within all of our bodies. And so on the mind level, all sentient beings, the refined essence of all beings is their Buddha nature. And then on the subtle body level, it is the seed that on an ordinary level, in a samsaric sense, the seed that proliferates, perpetuates samsara. So it is the seed whereby now when the seeds of male and female merge, then that is what makes a child, and that is what perpetuates family lineages. The children are born, a family line is born. So when we speak about the Bodhichitta drop, actually this is the same one and the same drop. That's actually the Bodhichitta drop. It's that seed that makes a child. So when we see that Bodhichitta drop in an ordinary way, then that Bodhichitta drop itself becomes the cause of perpetuating samsara. So the seed is used for a samsaric activity, meaning that it is used from the perspective of a dualistic perception. So people see each other in a dualistic way. And so when people then unite with one another with an ordinary state of mind, a mind that is attached and clings to the other person and also sees the other person as separate, then such a union, through this union of seeds, then samsara actually perpetuate, and it will only get worse and worse. And that is because it becomes connected to a mind of ignorance. Actually, the four main afflictive emotions are all supported by ignorance. They're all connected by ignorance. So basically, ignorance is the underlying basis. And then through ignorance and attachment, then the union becomes a real thing. So one then thinks that this is actually true, this is happening. And then as a result of that, temporarily, we create a solid existence, solidity. We create samsara. And so here in this context, the consecrated seed is the Bodhichitta seed of Guru Rinpoche, which is the union of emptiness and appearance emptiness. And it is the refined, the pure essence, because it is still the same essence, but it is the refined essence because here you realize that while things appear, they do not actually inherently exist. So they appear, but they are empty. So in that union, there is no dualistic grasping at self and other. In this union, one knows there is no real separation between self and other. One realizes that the very essence of the appearance is emptiness. So it is appearance entering into emptiness, and that generates an experience of great bliss. And if one clings to the true existence of that bliss, it becomes the cause of suffering. And it's something you can see in your own mind. You know, when a certain thought arises in your mind and you really cling to that thought, you think that this is real, this is how it is. This is a very bad feeling. You know, this is a very bad and very negative feeling. And some people even commit suicide because of these feelings. And actually, you can recognize the essence of what is being said here by just looking at these kind of feelings. Just look at these feelings without looking at your body, associating them with your body. Just look at the feeling and don't grasp at that feeling as real. And this is then how actually ultimately appearance enters emptiness, and through this union, then an experience of great bliss arises. So first, during the Vase empowerment of the generation stage, everything has been transformed into emptiness, like appearing emptiness that lacks inherent existence. And so here in the secret empowerment, this is consecrated by this appearance is consecrated by the Bodhichitta drop, whose essence is great bliss. For example, those who practice the Tsalung, the channels, winds, and the drops, they are taught to practice with their channels, winds, and drops, and through the union that generates great bliss, but without any dualistic grasping as self and other. So emptiness means that there is no dualistic thought within your mind. And when there is no dualistic thought within your mind, great bliss arises. No dualistic thought in the mind is what we also call the primordial awareness of bliss, emptiness. So that is the secret, the essence of the secret empowerment. And for the visualization, we visualize how Guru Rinpoche and consort are in union, and how their white and red Bodhichitta drops merge and then melt with the Amrita, which we then taste. And what that represents is a union of great bliss without attachment, without clinging. When there is no clinging in the mind, then one is actually resting in the view. Then one actually realizes emptiness. There are three occasions when we come to the natural state of the mind. There are three basically occasions where we can realize emptiness. And one is when we die and the consciousness transfers, we come to the natural state. The second is when we are in sexual union. That is also when we come to the natural state. And the third one is when we are in the deep sleep state. Then we also come to the natural state of the mind. And so here, this empowerment is related to the sexual union, where we are introduced to the empty nature of bliss. And when you see the empty nature of bliss, you come to the natural state of the mind. Then the union, the sexual union, becomes the so-called view. It turns into the realization of the mind. And so that is, if it is based on a view or a state of mind that is free from attachment and duality. If there is duality, if you see each other in a dualistic way, then there will be clinging and attachment. There will be a mutual ownership. And a focus on the other's body. And then this attachment grows stronger, and then that perpetuates samsara. Then that increases our thoughts of a concrete, true existence. And so here we are dissolving this through the consecration. So consecrating with the Bodhichitta drops. So that's the secret empowerment. And so during the second secret empowerment, all of our grasping, our perception at a concrete true existence, the existence of the true existence of bliss becomes emptiness. And so in this way, we realized the nature of emptiness, or the empty nature of bliss.
我说这只能算这东西，我说是个没就是很容易给的。我红是个叫阿门的，我说没去，没有这么大个的些了，你们真上万多人可能我们别嘛用的，说我说我嘛红别大个别嘛是的，我这别跟着。这个3月1头那个这么大3个半了不了的这个如果他不干嘛现在就蓝绿色多人安那有个对蓝色的老板我们老往是人家这里打动了就送个往了打动那边我们这个嘛是东西了这了这把当你这了嘛这我已经讲了嘛呀他们不吃的枪被什么的我家这个的枪被都家人参与讲了让上口说了嘛这种比自己多把的这样的那打动这了这里那不讲马这把就这个马这把没人说的这么大的这人是半面了除了都把这个感觉要嘛没把这个都这样嘛这种比自己多把没嘛这了这里打动的这种比自己多把没嘛我这现在这里就你不写嘛你不写看你话没完俺儿子把没把这个另外打动个多大都会有的真的这了嘛轻松这里这嘛轻松
You have received the secret empowerment, the obscurations of your speech are purified. You will attain the 9th bhumi called perfect intelligence. As a result, you are endowed with the fortune to attain the Sambhogakaya. In the context of the path, you are empowered to practice the Anu Yoga completion stage and consecrating yourself. And so the empowerment, the secret empowerment is also referred to as the speech empowerment. So it purifies the grasping at speech. You realize the empty nature of sound, and all sound having the nature of mantra, of the Emaho Benza Home mantra. But then, now this is the divine speech that purifies our karmic imprint of ordinary speech. But then ordinary speech usually is not driven by faith and compassion. Ordinary speech is what actually creates more imprints. For example, when someone tells you you're so great, then immediately you will feel very prideful. But then when somebody tells you you're wrong, you're bad, then immediately you get really angry. And so that is because there are these thoughts these grasping thoughts of associating your own ideas about something, you're conflating your own ideas with what's actually happening. And so these thoughts are being purified, these fixations are being purified. And you realize the empty nature of sound. And so from that perspective, when someone insults you, for example, you, first of all, would not believe that that person is even real, the one who is speaking. You would understand that this person is just a physical body appearing like an illusion, and this compound of a body does not actually inherently exist. And then the words that the person speaks also do not exist. They are completely empty. They're nowhere. And therefore, there is no need to be happy about being praised or upset about being blamed. And so in this way, by releasing the fixation to sound, you are purifying these concepts that conflate your ideas with the actual thing, what is happening. So you realize the union of sound and emptiness. And then when you are in such a meditative state where you perceive all sounds as empty of self-nature, then no sound will affect you in one or the other way. Whether it is a pleasant or unpleasant sound, it will all become the same. So that is when you realize the empty nature of sound. And so all of this can be summarized into the instruction of do not grasp at sounds. And then also we said here at the end, so you're empowered to practice the consecrating yourself. So what that means is, so when you practice, through the practice of the channels, winds, and the drops, you recognize the inherent qualities of the Bodhichitta drop, that the qualities are present within your own subtle body, and that it is through the subtle Bodhichitta drop present within your own body that you can attain the state of enlightenment. So if this knowledge, knowing, becoming aware of your own qualities, that is the meaning of consecrating yourself. So consecrating yourself means that you understand that you yourself possess this subtle Bodhichitta drop, and you understand the qualities that come from the Bodhichitta drop. Then next we come to the third knowledge, wisdom, empowerment. See the Vajra master who confers the empowerment as the embodiment of the unelaborated Dharma Kaya Padmasambhava. The place of conferring the empowerment is your heart. The manner the empowerment is conferred is as follows. From a blue hung at the Guru's heart emanates blue light like smoke coming from a burning incense stick. As it dissolves into your heart, imagine that your mind becomes indivisible from the clear yet empty mind of Padmasambhava. This is the essence which is represented by perceiving the Khatvanga as the wisdom Dakini and fully arousing the 4 levels of supreme passion. Thus think that you receive the empowerment of experiencing the 4 joys of descending flow and ascending stabilization.
是过去的这些大的什么上界，那些叫不能做这的波去，什么中央上人把红，这个红人，这个红人把我这不认得把他干的什了。你们他谁也忘错，啥东光别嘛就是特别忘错，说我们红别那个人别嘛是的红，知道别跟着红，你知道这个红是到做的呢，到红是吧的，那都抗议了，那到下午的红光那红这个那到的超生的到多让你一错人我有的这个这个我们的红的多一个让你这到现在红的路面光的呢这一错是吧然后连我有的冬天送吧的 that's the home, women come out there, romantic function, mango, the soil, the home, the one given and easy, unity change on the unity de la Basso, the young Talong de unity change on Tata, the Rangu, Tap Danger, Nay, certainly Rangu Tap Danger and a Timber Top, Rangi Batin, and they were trying to get the change on. Not any guide, tattoo guard, the only Symphony, don't they have needs maybe she, somewhere doing more machine, young eating shadow, none of the home, they took a niece maybe she died, bring me the home, there. Katanda, there's no Gossabudani, the home, the Gossabudani, Charlie, Gossabudani,
And so here, during this empowerment, we are consecrating others. And so here mainly the focus is the visualization is on the Hung syllable representing the enlightened mind. And the Hung, those of you who are familiar with the Hung practice know that whenever a thought arises, an emotion arises, whatever arises in the mind, if you only meditate on the Hung has the power to destroy all these thoughts and feelings. And upon destructions, you come to the natural state on your own, just by the Hung having destroyed all these thoughts and feelings. That is the real mind empowerment. It is represented by the Hung, whose nature is emptiness. And also, you're familiar with the visualization of the Hung in the fire flame. So you can visualize the Hung in the fire flame, thinking that it represents your ultimate nature of your mind. So by just meditating on the Hung in brief, eventually your awareness will naturally settle in its natural state. So many of the disciples are familiar with the meditation on the Hung. Many of you practice that. So during the next empowerment, then, which actually comes a bit later, we are consecrating or giving bliss to others. And so that is based on the self-consecration in the previous step. So through the union of Yap and Yum, practicing the channels, winds, and drops, bliss is conferred upon the other. But that actually requires stability in the previous step of consecrating yourself. So when stability is reached, then bliss can be conferred upon others. And there are 4 levels of bliss, or 4 levels of joy. And the ultimate level of joy that is realized is the empty nature of the mind. And that is realized when through the union, you merge non-dually completely. So all concepts dissolve into the non-dual primordial awareness, and there's just a state of emptiness. If one doesn't recognize that, if one doesn't recognize bliss in that way, then one will again grasp at a duality and see the other person as separate. So this is what the Hung represents. The Hung represents this non-dual primordial awareness, or the Hung inside of the fire flame. And the Khatvanga, the 3-pointed Khatvanga staff, represents the 3 kayas. And actually the Hung is also an embodiment of the 3 kayas. And it is said that your own intrinsic awareness has the nature of the 3 kayas.
这个小游戏就往头一就是把它上去把这些这一弄这个这个都把干嘛进来这儿，咱们啥的呀，这上就是别就往空老公把了，往这这的马路去了个大龙娘们这边搞的这。三个女的，他们这个的，一当两年结不搞的，搞一起来，今天这里，咱们就是些人吧， ngortu cheyang yore ga gerjile 동태에 진 잡초들이 다다다 고르메 봐서 세군대로 걸었더니 세군대로 걸어를 하시더라는 거 들리잖아 고르메 봐서 내려라 하시잖아 원고가 동태에 왕지 봐 사다 시하고 왕송
Langsung 말해.
왕서봐 싫어.
네, 수바라.
왕순반 그래. 그래 왕순반 그래 쉐왕.
Yeah, so,
쉐왕이 왕저가 저왕을 나 쉐왕이 쉐하고 왕 나이 얼마가 왕이 받쳐지 왕기다를 얼마 잘 때려라 진짜로 가상 이상한 나다 탑라틴 제기요리 왕기다를 망스 제기요리
so we are, so then it says you have received the knowledge, wisdom, empowerment. The obscurations of your mind are purified. You will attain the 10th bhumi called Dharma cloud. As a result, you are endowed with the fortune to attain the Dharma kaya. In the context of the path, you are empowered to practice Ati Yoga and the Mandala circle of Bodhichitta. And so this also is related to the channels, winds, and drops practices of the 6 yogas of Naropa, according to the new tantric system. Also, in the new tantric system, for example, whatever yidam deity you practice, you are in the new tantric system. One is introduced through the 4 yogas of Mahamudra on the basis of the 4 levels of joy. And so ultimately one reaches the level of non-meditation. And that is when all thought or concepts dissolve into the natural state of the mind and you come to rest in your true nature. And when you rest there naturally, there is no more deliberate meditation. So it's the state of non-meditation. So this is the 3rd empowerment, the wisdom, the knowledge, wisdom empowerment. Normally, during other empowerments, at this point, one is given a consort, which is given in the form of a sign, so an image of a consort is shown. But here, instead of that, the empowerment symbol is the Khatvanga staff. So generally in the secret mantra, we are introduced to the certain meanings on the basis of signs and symbols.
이번에 대양왕 그바보라마 비만요를 그성님이 어원이 그 다니지 거는네 저는데 대화소 내가 제가 그 저는 우리 대화래 우리 대화소 내가네 어제 철라자 소차와서 좀 지나게 네 대다다 선배 거 송소요 전에 요도 왕 도발 뭐가 싸웠다 초디제 제가 싫도데 아셔도데 따라지는 거 개베 다도 같이 송도 님이 시 책을 제가 주고 뭐 싶어서 뭐 왕지바 다도서 도발 세송 잡으면 도저게
So then there's the 4th empowerment. Siddha Vajra Master, who confers the empowerment as the embodiment of the Svabhavika Kaya nature of Padmasambhava, in which the 3 Kayas are indivisible. The place of conferring the empowerment are the 5 places, such as your navel. The manner the empowerment is conferred is as follows. From the Guru's 5 places, such as the navel, emanates 5-colored light like a rainbow reflected in water. As it dissolves into your 5 places, imagine that you have received the complete empowerment of enlightened body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities. This is the essence which is represented by the symbolic display of a material crystal ball. Thus think that you perfectly receive the fourth empowerment, whereby you recognize the skillful means of sign and meaning, the non-dual unity, and the primordial wisdom beyond the domain of words as Dharmakaya.
Sarva Dharma Abhikhenzo Sacred Nero Yakwana, Nasam Jimmy Kanga Mena, Tela, Tapari, Sina, Madabara, Numonga, Ramji, Shayong, Shelley Jatung Savanya, the Ramji, Shayong, Tela, Nizi Majoda, the Ishigami Jodori, Nizi. 起码熟了，这样也搞你蒙了，原来这话中或者艺术的上说话讲什么的，这都这里现在别的，哦，但是生活的路这了，那说下用的干下用的呢，生活下在现在我都管你原没完了，让人下用的有的，这下子怎么买就过来。
The nature of the mind is inexpressible beyond words and thoughts. Actually, it is nothing at all. But because we are afflicted, various things appear. Or when we are unafflicted, the five wisdoms appear. There is this unceasing radiance coming from the mind. And so this is represented by a crystal. The crystal from which rainbow lights emerge naturally. So the rainbow lights emerge from the crystal, are part of the crystal. And if one does not regard them as separate from the crystal, or one does not regard appearances as separate from the mind, then the afflictive emotions all transform into the five wisdoms. However, if one does enter into dualistic thinking, seeing appearances as separate from the mind, then temporarily they will manifest as the five afflictions. We mentioned that yesterday during the life force Kila instructions. So this is like the life force of samsara and nirvana, meaning that it all shines forth from it, from this basis. Myriads of appearances shine forth, manifest, and the basis from which they appear is like a crystal ball, completely empty and lucid, and yet giving off a radiance naturally. So appearances naturally appear from the empty crystal. So the key instruction is, do not grasp at the separate existence of all appearances.
Nella tata chita jemala be song ni sebji chen jata cha jata song ngi yin song tata la ni su na jata na wa tham jang ge chen je na wa chen to ta je ma ge be de jo ko re lo si ba za ba ka sa ge cha ma lo ge sa wa xie ge yo re然后甚至落到我就把刚才差的有一定怎么的生康产业大了的同样有嘛这个也是说话说这里第二点这从他搞的上下基本上这样我们先拿得去了对手生活内容大了这里12这里从东子还有没有哪怕东把到东城垃圾里面通这稍微通的习惯是把这个稍微甚至东把人吧哈过了这里到了남가 따로 하고 저들이 추가하고 뒤강에 말이들이 당체를 소통성 조건간에 좀 마셔도 이제다 성능 문제에서 문제점 콜라네 뭐걸 맞은 대파식 랑 샤랑 돌때 차로 요리 너나
And the Milarepa said, when you think, if you believe that the mind possesses a basis and a root, then when actually it has no basis or root, then you will engage in grasping at a duality, at a concrete existence. Then your meditation becomes a grasping at concrete existence. In the 37 practices, it says, appearances are your own mind. So first we have to realize that whatever appears, what we perceive is our own mind. There's one example that I personally always give, my example, that is, it's just like electricity. Everything in this world, in every country, everything is powered by electricity. We do everything with electricity. And electricity is very similar to the essence of your own mind. It's just like that. We think that there are many different electrical devices, so we think they are different and separate, but really they are all powered by the same electricity. And also electricity is something that we cannot see, it's immaterial. And also it's something that cannot really be located. We can't say that's where it comes from, that's where it abides, that's where it will go to. And so what is a method to see that our mind is just like that? In the Mahamudra teachings, it says, without a single thought, look at your mind, look at the ultimate nature of your mind decisively. When you look at your mind, there is nothing to be seen. It is completely empty, just like space. So what you see actually is a complete emptiness. But then it's not just nothing, because there is a clear awareness. You are conscious of your empty nature. You know that this is your empty nature. This is the space-like nature. There's clear awareness of that. And so that is what we call the clarity. And when you realize, when you experience that your mind is just like space, that's actually when you see the Dharmakaya. And then what needs to be done is to continue on within that state without wavering. Within that state that is a union of clarity and emptiness. This emptiness means there is no grasping. And as long as there is no grasping at anything whatsoever, your mind will not solidify again. It's just when you begin to grasp at thoughts arising, whatever appears, then again you solidify into this concrete reality and again perceive ordinary samsara. If you do not grasp at whatever arises, you will not solidify into this dense existence, and therefore whatever arises will become naturally liberated upon arising. So everything arises on its own and dissolves on its own. That is the nature of the mind. So in the 37 practices, it says, appearances are one's own mind. From the beginning, mind's nature is free from the extremes of elaboration. Realizing this, not to engage in the mind in a subject-object duality, is the Bodhisattva's practice. And then also Tilopa said in the Mahamudra teachings, without a single thought, decisively look at your ultimate nature. So decisively means you have to be certain, you have to gain certainty. So you think nothing and you know clearly and you decide upon that.
도지 뭐 똑같이 독치 삽도 잘 동가다 저기 이시 고발하고 와요.
And then you have, having received this empowerment, the obscurations of your 3 doors are purified. You will attain the 11th bhumi called total light. As a result, you are endowed with the fortune to attain the svabhavika kaya. In the context of the path, you are empowered to practice the innermost secret Vajra essence of Ati Yoga, the effortless truth of the great perfection, namely the originally pure and spontaneously present primordial wisdom.
저기 가당디 소프 가당디 제다 제바다 제 차와리들이 되는 따뜻하더니 그래서 탁디 도지 로보 다부 왕은 차와는 보디롱 지도 잡아 내가지 보여 보디롱 지도 차와 저봐 때 르만 멜동망에 빼만 담아서 뒤에도 다외지 홀라 알레지로게 진바 대여 오더 녀매지 홀라 깔아 서기지바 때 이제 각별을 대여서 홍갈 보라 양형 배다고 봐 제자리 어제는 진짜 뭐 제체 이동 동당지 배다고 당 알리 깔리 number 진정 탐발죠.
So what would come next in the empowerment text is the life force kila that we already discussed yesterday during the teachings. And then skipping that, we come to the next empowerment, which is the Vajramaster empowerment, where it says the empowerment is performed by offering an oral transmission of a volume of scripture. The scripture on 100,000 petal lotus arisen from the state of emptiness without a reference point is a moon disc marked with there is a moon disc, as on the scripture, there is a moon disc marked with the 16 Sanskrit vowels. Below it is a sun disc marked with the 34 Sanskrit consonants. This is the sealed sphere of sun and moon. At its center is a white hung surrounded by the quintessential Vajraguru mantra. From the mantra and seed syllable radiates light, which gathers all the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha, which descend in the form of the Vajraguru mantra and the Sanskrit vowels and consonants, and dissolve into the mantra syllables.
홍은 배다거라 비마 서다 홍 레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레레 베다사도 samaya 마누발라야 베다사도 tel로보 저산도 메바와 소소카요 메바 소보 차요 메바와 아나라 또 메바와 사와 제데 메포리 예타 사와 깔마 소타 메 쯔담 시암 구루 홍 하하하 호 바가이 사와 따따 가따 메자 마미 메자 베다바마 samaya 사도아 오예 Dharma 해도 잡아와 해도 떡해 따따게다 하요 와때 떡해 자요 내로다 에와와지마 샤마나 어떻게 되냐도 로치도 이들이 로쇼지
Thank you, Lord. So like Rinpoche said, we should read these mantras all together. We already read them again.
I don't think so.
Mandala 박자 배다고를 나오도 시험이 레완데 저 엄마 홍 사제구지 사제구지 뭐 빼만 좀 사대 토접 위노데 레긴 남라 드바 레긴 남라这些里面讲毛东的，如果说我们红别那个人别嘛，是的红嘛，别那个人别嘛是的红，别那个人别嘛是的我没得嘛，还得这么还得这个那个还有还得这个那样。 Evamama Yamana Wa Honjo to Javim Single man, Pendo, Water, Maji, Tongdon, Basa, Shiki, Katin Pola, Lutan, Little Tomato, Mandara Singer, Madrasa Humphrey want to Oma Honda, and Samaya. Abekendo, look at this, Abekendo, Yin Sanang get the song of the Katin de la Katin, Sonata, Kabata, Baba so. That didn't say this in the Sasa Hong down to the Chupari, the Tang Kajato, jealously, want to shoot my yard, nothing, now the Chosong Jeba, you know, one of the one Hong day, one Jeba Jelen Gizzy. This is that you got at the three, the young day, Tonda Hong Jeba, Trisata, come Chosong red. They are the one from a thought they are this shocking young nature. Trisata, young Termini, young young, society, Kasakani, young treat them like a chocolate, the Pachete, Young chocolate. Trisata one taken drop songs.
And then after that, a few additional empowerments, which are actually basically in meaning the same. And there's an empowerment of the view, which is similar to the fourth empowerment and so on. And so they're basically auxiliary empowerments that have the same meaning. But the essential meaning of all the empowerments are all included in the four empowerments that we have gone through. And so an empowerment ritual may be longer, another one may be shorter. And so there are some empowerments that have a more elaborate preliminary section and so on. And so here in this case, there's an elaborate auxiliary an additional section. But basically the meaning is the same. And here again, it says that those who are not initiated should not be given should not reveal the meaning of this empowerment to those not initiated. And then also it says that the empowerment should only be given to those who actually will engage in its practice. And so there is a practice on the Kunjogam Chudun that one can practice. And with regard to learning more about the practice itself, you can receive different instructions from various teachers. But in any case, you are empowered to engage in the Kunjog Chidu sadhana practice, and that completes the empowerment.
Sangha Nangba Tara Rajabocha the Lama Muita, Neda Nemba Lama Mul, Neda Nemba, Taya Sondi, the Guru Kama, the Dutak the Liwam Nam, and Darapa, Mandara Chang, Chief, Chupala, Sobala, Soba, Lami. Lama Japan Base are there, Tom Secretary, Mayaba, Song of the what is Tom Secretary, Ramada Circle, Lona, the Tom Secretary, the Sancho Siri, something the fly saw something, Bina, the Hlan Chabana, the in that Jiti, Tipi Chubak, Chibuin, Song, the Charity, for Lock.
And so then at the end, there is the samaya. And so the root samaya is to cultivate bodhicitta, cultivate love. Love is the life force of the deity. It's what you need in order to really connect to the deity. And so then aside from that, it's also good to repeat the deity's mantra or call the deity's name. And so for the samaya here, it says, the four empowerments and the additional supporting empowerment of the Gunjung Chidu have now been properly conferred. The secret mantra is the pinnacle of all Dharma. The secret mantra's consummation is the Vajra vehicle. Furthermore, the root of secret mantra is empowerment. The root of empowerment is samaya. The samaya consists of root and branch samayas. This is the general Buddhist way of explaining the secret mantra yana. But more specifically, one hits the vital point of secret mantra through its heart essence, that is guru devotion. Symbolic of this, always keep a likeness of the guru or a small volume of the sadhana close to your body without ever separating from it. On the 10th day of the lunar month, be diligent in practicing the guru, such as sparing no effort in making offerings to him, thus intending to keep all coarse and subtle samayas flawlessly. And please repeat the samaya. So the ultimate samaya really is bodhicitta. It is said that the 84,000 Dharma teachings are subsumed within bodhicitta. And what really is bodhicitta? It is really immeasurable love. And if there is love, then naturally compassion will arise. So that is the actual samaya that we have to keep. So first, we are still seeing a duality of self and others. And so for as long as we still perceive a duality, what's most important for us is to cultivate an altruistic mind. It is that the perfect Buddhas arise from an altruistic mind. That's really most important, to cultivate an altruistic mind of wishing to benefit others. That's the root of all commitments. And it will lead to the ultimate realization of the mind, because if you develop immeasurable love, self-grasping will diminish. The dualistic perception of self and other will diminish. So it's because of the self that you perceive a duality of self and other. And when you don't think about the self and you only have love, there's only love and there's no self. And in that moment, you just look at your mind, you realize the nature of the mind. You see that there is no delineation between yourself and other. You see that within this moment of love. So that is what we also call the relative bodhicitta, but it's the most important samaya. It is loving kindness. For example, when people who love me, who ask me for a signature when to sign something. Whenever I sign something, I actually sign with the words jamje, which means loving kindness or also love or compassion. And this is how I sign actually anything. So Bodhichitta is love, and love is just like my own heart, and love is the heart of all the Buddhas of the 3 times. And how you put it into practice is by practicing the 37 Bodhisattva practices. So now I have shared these teachings with you, this empowerment with you to the best of my abilities. Although I do not have much learning, I understand that the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha are all subsumed within Bodhicitta. Don't forget these words and hold on to love. So now we have completed the empowerment.
我上阿拉们这些心理差，我这个拿这些当然做，这两个就这些在，造成的不给了做嘛。这个国里头这做了的解决，解决嘛的解决没影响的，这解决了的没说可能的，甚至当然的，甚至他们签送的解决了，人家没说中国人，两个解决的没说送这些，哪里我们不就懂了？他把这个甚至他这懂了，这个那个解决出吧的这个就么解决了窗口，咋去中国人了？这叫啥？我这人当节目都是看的人这个人。 这个说那个感觉厂子吧，这个人那七八早的原本一下就把的，来到了厂子就他们对的，这帮人国家就是讲你就哪能看的干，这样呢就这个这个初高多那的，去全部有的这个做吧。
And also, the main samaya that is related to Guru Rinpoche is to make offerings to Guru Rinpoche on the 10th day of the lunar month, on Guru Rinpoche day. And that is because he himself had said on this day, he will actually come into this world to benefit beings. So that is why on that particular day of the waxing moon, it is very auspicious to make offerings to him. But actually, it's not like he doesn't come any other time. Of course, he always comes when we supplicate him. But he comes especially on the 10th day of every lunar month. And so on that day, we should make, for example, a feast offering, a Gana Chakra offering, of any size. It doesn't have to be large. It can be a longer practice. It can be a medium length practice or a short practice. Whichever practice you decide to do, it is fine. For example, in the Drikung Kagyu lineage, we practice Guru Rinpoche as a Tsewang Tsimba. And the Tsewang Tsimba practice and any Guru Rinpoche practice are one and the same. There's really not the slightest difference. And now we have offered you the Tsewang Tsimba sadhana practice, so you can practice it. Or you can practice any other Guru Rinpoche sadhana, whichever one you like. You practice it on the 10th day of the lunar month. And on that day, you should also make a Tok offering, a Gana Chakra feast offering. And because today is the auspicious 10th day, we are going to dedicate with the Samantabhadra prayer.
Homage to the primordial Buddha, Samantabhadra. Ho! Everything, appearance and existence, samsara and nirvana, has a single ground, yet 2 paths and 2 fruitions, and magically displays as awareness or unawareness. Through Kunten Sampo's prayer, may all beings become Buddhas, completely perfected in the abode of the Dharma Dhatu. The ground of all is uncompounded, and the self-arising great expanse beyond expression has neither the name samsara nor nirvana. Realizing just this, you are Buddha. Not realizing this, you are a being wandering in samsara. I pray that all you beings of the three realms may realize the true meaning of the inexpressible ground. I, Kuntin Sampo, have realized the truth of this ground, free from cause and condition, which is just this self-arising awareness. It is unstained by outer expressions and inner thought, affirmation, or denial, and is not defiled by the darkness of unmindfulness. Thus, the self-manifesting display is free from defects. I, Kuntin Sampo, abide as intrinsic awareness. Even though the three realms were to be destroyed, there is no fear. There is no attachment to the five desirable qualities of sense objects. In self-arising consciousness, free of thoughts, there is neither solid form nor the five poisons. In the unceasing clarity of awareness, singular in essence, there yet arises the display of the five wisdoms. From the ripening of these five wisdoms, the five original Buddha families emerge, and through the expanse of their wisdom, the 42 peaceful Buddhas appear. Through the arising power of the five wisdoms, the 60 wrathful Herukas manifest. Thus, the ground awareness is never mistaken or wrong. I, Kuntin Zampo, am the original Buddha of all, and through this prayer of mine, may all you beings who wander in the three realms of samsara realize this self-arising awareness, and may your great wisdom spontaneously increase. My emanations will continuously manifest in billions of unimaginable ways, appearing in forms to help you beings who can be trained. Through my compassionate prayer, may all of you beings who wander in the three realms of samsara escape from the 6 life forms. From the beginning, you beings are deluded because you do not recognize the awareness of the ground. Being thus unmindful of what occurs is delusion, the very state of unawareness and the cause of going astray. From this delusive state comes a sudden fainting away and then a subtle consciousness of wavering fear. From that wavering, there arises a separation of self and the perception of others as enemies. Gradually, the tendency of separation strengthens, and from this, the circle of samsara begins. Then the emotions of the five poisons develop. The actions of these emotions are endless. You beings lack awareness because you are unmindful, and this is the basis of your going astray. Through my prayer, may all you beings recognize your intrinsic awareness. Innate unawareness means unmindfulness and distraction. Imputing unawareness means dualistic thoughts toward self and others. Both kinds of unawareness are the basis for the delusion of all beings. Through Kuntin Zampo's prayer, may all you beings wandering in samsara clear away the dark fog of unmindfulness, clear away the clinging thoughts of duality. May you recognize your own intrinsic awareness. Dualistic thoughts create doubt. From subtle attachment to this dualistic turn of mind, dualistic tendencies become stronger and thicker. Food, wealth, clothes, home, and friends, the five objects of the senses, and your beloved family, all these things cause torment by creating longing and desire. These are all worldly delusions. The activities of grasping and clinging are endless. When the fruition of attachment ripens, you are born as a hungry ghost, tormented by coveting and desiring, miserable, starving, and thirsty. Through Kuntin Zampo's prayer, may all you desirous and lustful beings who have attachments neither reject longing desires nor accept attachment to desires. Let your consciousness relax in its own natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of perfect discernment. When external objects appear, the subtle consciousness of fear will arise. From this fear, the habit of anger becomes stronger and stronger. Finally, hostility comes, causing violence and murder. When the fruition of this anger ripens, you will suffer in hell by boiling and burning. Through Kuntin Zampo's prayer, you beings of the 6 realms, when strong anger arises for you, neither reject nor accept it. Instead, relax in the natural state and achieve the wisdom of clarity. When your mind becomes full of pride, there will arise thoughts of competition and humiliation. As this pride becomes stronger and stronger, you will experience the suffering of quarrels and abuse. When the fruition of this karma ripens, you will be born in the God realms and experience the suffering of change and falling to lower rebirths. Through Kunten Sampo's prayer, may you beings who develop pride, let your consciousness relax in the natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of equanimity. By increasing the habit of duality, by praising yourself and denigrating others, your competitive mind will lead you to jealousy and fighting, and you will be born in the jealous God realm, where there is much killing and injury. From the result of that killing, you will fall into the hell realm. Through Kunten Sampo's prayer, when jealousy and competitive thoughts arise, do not grasp them as enemies. Just relax in ease. Then consciousness can hold its own natural state. May you achieve the wisdom of unobstructed action. By being distracted, careless, and unmindful, you beings will become dull, foggy, and forgetful. By being unconscious and lazy, you will increase your ignorance, and the fruition of this ignorance will be to wander helplessly in the animal realm. Through Kunten Sampo's prayer, may you beings who have fallen into the dark pit of ignorance shine the light of mindfulness and thereby achieve wisdom free from thought. All you beings of the three realms are actually identical to Buddhas, the ground of all, but your misunderstanding of the ground causes you to go astray, so you act without aim. The 6 karmic actions are a delusion like a dream. I am the primordial Buddha, here to train the 6 kinds of beings through all my manifestations. Through Kunten Sampo's prayer, may all you beings without exception attain enlightenment in the state of the Dharma Dhatu. Aho, hereafter, whenever a very powerful yogin with his or her awareness radiant and free from delusion recites this very powerful prayer, then all who hear it will achieve enlightenment within 3 lifetimes. During a solar or lunar eclipse, during earthquake, or when the earth rumbles, at the solstices or New Year, you should visualize Kunten Sampo. And if you pray it loudly so all can hear, then beings of the 3 realms will be gradually liberated from suffering through the prayer of the yogin and will finally achieve enlightenment.
Rinpoche, Bodhichitta. So we like to thank Rinpoche and all the translator Ina and also GBI, Billy, and help us make this happen. And this weekend we had thousands of people from Zoom and YouTube, Facebook, and other website. So lots of people sent us messages said the teaching was very profound and amazing. Everybody so happy. And today so many people from all over the world. Also many people in China joined the teaching and the empowerment. So we wish Rinpoche long life. Please, Rinpoche, stay in long life and good health. Okay.
Thank you.
Rinpoche.
Hey, hey.
다시 들래.
Yeah, hey. 시바 시바.
다시 들래.
다시 내래.
健康长寿。
长寿。
구창ling太多了，一个。다시 달래 Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
구창ling.
rinpoche常住。
다시 달래.
rinpoche常住。
健康长寿，长长少人，
长寿。
健康长寿。
多谢谢。
多谢谢。
多谢谢。